so I started like I commissioned some plush artists online, and then I just decided just like that I want to try also, and you gotta start somewhere. You just must never give up, even though you fail, you keep on trying. I also do go to conventions, also that being like vending, and also before as a condor and cosplayer. I have 2 major awards in masquerade with my Kitamon costume. I would like to ask, who has tried to do plush making? Someone want to share one of their experience with it? Of what they tried? Yes?
I made a plush skunk in grade 8 and it had holes in it.
That happened because mine here is my very first one and it has holes.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Trying to make a toothless plushie and screwing up the head that's too big for its body.
Oh. Yeah, it happens. Anybody else want to share a story or just what they made before? Yes?
I actually started making them for bunnies for chinchillas that their partners passed away, and chinchillas are really fragile things, so they actually pass away from remorse over their partner dying. And then I started making them for the chinchillas, and then my daughter started swiping the ones for the chinchillas.
So you had to make some more, and one more for her.
And more.
Yes. Anybody else? No? Okay, alright. We'll continue. So how to start? About materials, there's different kinds of plastic type. There's felt, there's fleece, there's minky, there's spoofer, and there's also others like vinyl, balboa. There's also other kinds. There's all kinds of the fabric. There's a big difference somewhat between fleece and minky and also felt. Felt is the cheapest, the ones that you're not too sure of your plush, or like just to start, because it's about like maybe I think 50 cents a sheet for a small square sheet. So you can do like with 1 square sheet you can do this pretty much. You have enough. Make sure also don't use black marker when you do your tracing out your fabric on blue fabric, like blue, like I did on my very first one right there. And also minky, it's a microfiber, higher quality, and super soft that I use also for baby blankets. So it's really, really like lasts long thing, as you can see here with the Charizard here. And also like minky and fur, it's really messy to cut. So there's ways to how to cut it properly, so you can still have the hair and also less messy all over your place. And the fleece, sometimes it tends to pile eventually when it's been handled a lot, like over the years, it will just pile up. About scheduling, like time involved, you have to schedule your list. What is more important? Like depends who ordered first, goes first. If it's a priority, then it goes on top of everybody else. Usually I do a rush fee of $20 at the start for 2 weeks to be done and then be shipped out, but it doesn't include like extra shipping and etc. But for bigger plushies or bigger order, I charge more. Like usually it could be like $50. And also set timelines. Like let's say if someone needs it by a certain time, make sure to write down the time, the date that they need it, because it is really important. You don't want to miss out. And then make sure also to include the time to be shipped out, which is also as deadlines. And you can set a timelines. Like let's say, okay, I want to finish this at this day, so I'm going to write on the list so I can make sure that I can try to finish it in time. And to like example, it takes like maybe about 10-15 hours to do a pony plush. I have some that taken more, like the palm one right there. She took me 4 days. Well, a Pina right there from Sword Art Online, she took me a whole day, which I did a day before actually. in the plush list, what I do is that I use a Word document. So to put what is I have to do for commissions. So what I do is like I write the plush. This is the older example. Is that I write the plush name, and then if it's a Pokemon or Digimon, I don't write it if it's a Pokemon or Digimon because I know the names. I know where they're from. But if it's from another show I'm not familiar with, I just write the name of the show also. Then I write the size of it and the fabric type. And then I write the customer name, but you can't see the customer name because it is blocked out for privacy reasons. And then I write down if it's Facebook, DeviantArt, or Etsy. But now I only write for Facebook and DeviantArt because 90% of my commissions come from Etsy. And then there's a day plan. If there is a time, the deadline for it, I write it down, especially for that. But if there is not really a deadline, I don't write it down unless I have my own deadline. And then the progress of percentage, like 0% is like nothing done, 10% is like embroidery and pattern is done, and then it goes more up and up and up. And over 50% is when you're just sewing by hand left. And also you can do like a wait list if you want to. Usually, so you always set yourself like a maximum of how many slots you're going to take. Like let's say 10, and then you have a wait list. So you can maximize your like put a maximum wait list or unlimited. It depends on how you feel comfortable. Like usually what I do is that when I'm almost done with my current list, I contact the 2 first people that are on the list to say, hey, I'm almost ready to do your order. You have to pay soon. And so if they can't pay right now, then I buck them down and then they go to the next person. But they can also just say, no, sorry, I decided not to, or I have too much financial issues, no problem, I'll just remove you from the list. Or if they want to do future, I'll just want to wait at the bottom. And also do not overload your wait list, and also have a payment plan policy, which I'll get to that later on. I always try to keep your first works if you want to. Some do, some don't. I have mine still. It reminds how like you made your improvements, and also like to compare, or like you say, oh wow, look at this. It's like it's so crappy now, and look at this now. It's like super awesome. It's like I have improved a lot. Like see? Like for this shiny Dialga, is that I sewed the head weird, okay, and then for half an hour, and then lost patience, and then glued the rest. So you can see a whole bunch of black markers also, the outline. So it's full of hot glue. And then for pattern making, when I started, I did some patterns. I still have some of them that I haven't tested out yet. I don't know, I'll try to test it out, you never know. But then eventually, I got the idea of it, and so I didn't do any patterns for like most of my years of plush making, so all of them, they're all unique. So I was just cutting up pieces like that, just in the fabric, but if it's something I'm not too sure, I do it on paper first. But about 2 years ago, when I started to do ponies, I started to do the patterns again. And so to keep them, because it's the base of the pony is always the same. But I always keep on improving, and every time I do the plush, I always make sure that it's something a little different. It might not be noticeable, but it is a bit different, the plush, so it still makes it unique. And there's also like ways to store your patterns. You can do it in a binder like I do, or in a portfolio file. There's all kinds of ways, or like in a box, and you have ziploc bags too. Or also there's electronics. Plush artists prefers to have it electronically, so they like on Photoshop with a pen tool. Like on paper, they scan and use the pen tool, and so they can just print it out after that. And also some of them to sell the patterns that way. So it's pretty much like making a pattern is taking an object and then like a Kleenex box, and then you see all your shapes, it's rectangles, and then you got your shapes and you put it back, and that's pretty much how it is, it's shapes. Like for Tsunaman right here, the body is pretty much ovals, like this. And then as you can see, it's a basic pattern making that I did years ago. It is for a Zoe, which is a robotic canine pretty much. And so I didn't want to do like the shapes flat pretty much, like the parts. I wanted like more like in 3D. So there was a lot of pieces in that one. There was supposed to be over than 100 pieces, and it was in vinyl. But I never finished, I only did the boosters. But this is the basic pattern making also. But now I do it differently because I did a pattern making class, and so now I use a ruler, and also I do like all of the shapes. Like if it's a circle, I do like a square, and then inside I do the circle. So I just work with straight lines, and then I work inside of it all the shapes and the roundness of it. Also, it's really important to label your pieces of patterns, because it happens to me a lot. I have a bin right now at home that's full of pattern pieces that I have to put it back in the binder. And sometimes I don't do the pattern pieces, or sometimes I forget to label them because I just do it like that before doing a plush. And so sometimes I'm like, what's this piece? I don't remember. That looks like a Renamon. Okay. Sometimes, or if I really can't figure it out, I'll just throw it out and maybe put it on the side. So usually, like, let's say like a Lucario arm, which I was working one last night, life size one, which is 4 feet tall. There's like the arm that has like 2 pieces. So I write down arm, Lucario arm. I write the size also, so 4 feet tall or life size, LF. And then I write blue, which is the blue part, and then a number 1, which is the top piece. And then the second piece, I write the same thing, and then except I change the 1 to the 2, and I say black. So you have an idea. And sometimes, if like you're not too sure which side it goes, the upside of a piece, I just put an arrow on to say it's the top piece. So different types of fabrics. The comparison is that for felt is, like as I said, it's really low cost. It's good to start. You can do still wonderful things with it. Like even like very experienced plush makers still use it sometimes. They do really like well ones, but eventually it will get like some kind of weird feeling eventually. So it's not really to be handled that much. Fleece is that you can get like a fabric clan for like $15 a meter, but usually there's sales, which is like $8 a meter. There's all kinds of fleece. There's like antipal fleece, there's Arctic fleece, and there's also the lambskin one. That one is more expensive, but it's really, really soft and a higher quality fleece. And then there's the minky, which is higher quality. It is super soft. You can get it online at fabric.com. That's where I get it. It is now, I think, $12 a meter, I think. I'm not too sure. Sometimes you can get it at Fabric Land, but it's a different kind of type. They call it micro chenille, which is about like $17 a meter. So it's better to order online, and you get the higher quality at fabric.com. And there's also other websites like Minky Delight, Trend Fabrics, Fabric Depot. So there's all kinds of websites for that. And then there's the fur. This is more expensive, but I can't really work with fur fully now because I'm actually allergic to it. So I can work only with small pieces of it. So I can't do a full plush in fur. But also with minky, I'm somewhat allergic to it. It's like when I work too much on it, I get rashes and everything. So I stop and just like work on something else. So I become allergic to that stuff and also to my cats. So Also about cat animals is that if you do like commissions, make sure to state if you have animals, what kind of animals you have, and also to say like, but I keep my animals away from my fabric or from my room. It is important to write that information. My cats are at my parents' place, so I have 2 lizards. So I don't think so they won't cause anything. And there's other fabrics too. There's like I said, the pleather is more harder to work with. There's also faussure. They can use that for like clothing and humans, and also velvet. Those are like works really well for human plushies, especially for the body. And each fabric has its own advantage and disadvantage. It really depends what you like working with. But with Minky, it makes the human plushies a higher quality. There's that I can say. Now about social media. Social media increase a lot your exposure, especially my Facebook page. That now I have been doing a lot of giveaways, contests. With my last giveaway, I had over 1,000 entries that entered my giveaway. I do that as a thank you for supporting me and everything, and then I always give back something back. I have now over 4,000 likes on my Facebook page because I post there pretty much every day with pictures, pretty much. So I keep there really updated a lot. I also do have DeviantArt for over 7 years, I think. But lately I haven't really been on there, but I have been catching up, so I've been uploading some plushies there. There's even some that I haven't put up there, like a Valor from League of Legends that I did last May. So it's still not up on the event. That's how bad it is. So we put some lately. And also there's your personal website. I used to have one, but then I kind of just gave up. Didn't have time to maintain it. And so there's also Etsy. Etsy, I've been having my store for 2 years. In the beginning, it was really slow, but then eventually it picked up more and more. I have done over 200 orders on Etsy. That's most of my income comes from. It's about like each month is over 4 numbers pretty much. That's how it is, and I'm always overloaded. I have like maybe 10, 11 plushies that are over 2 feet tall. A lot of life size. Like right now I have like 3 Gomamon life size super. And it also, Etsy is really important. If you want to, there's also like fees, of course. Like 20 cents per listing. Then there's a percentage for when it's being sold. And also when, percentage if you do PayPal, but most of my customers use the payment account, direct checkout, which they can pay by debit card or credit card direct. Commissions. So you want to start to do that. You want to start doing commissions? Make sure you make your terms. You can go to other policies like of others to see some examples and some ideas. Make sure you have everything about like payment plan, how you do your payments, your returns, everything. It is really important. Even though most customers won't read it at all and try to make their own terms to you. It happened to me a lot and last night too. So make a contract if you want to. They don't need to sign it. You don't have to do that part, but at least maybe some important parts it is like to tell them in advance if you want to, or if it comes a problem, you just direct them to your policy, or you copy and paste to the conversation of one part of your policy about the problem. But sometimes I kind of like, sometimes I try to always work well with the customer, the best solution. And also the restrictions. Like, let's say, like I won't accept like those kind of payments, like conceal cash. Don't take that. It is really risky. And also do a don't, which is like you're comfortable. Let's say you're comfortable doing human plushies, but you're not comfortable to do creatures yet. So you say pretty much, I can do the human characters, but I can't do creatures or like mechas or highly detailed. Me, it's somewhat humans, but mostly creatures. I can do mecha, I can do really high detail plushies. I've done like some robotic ones. I'm working on some really hard detailed one, which is, I don't know if you know, it's somewhat similar to Machinedramon from Digimon. So it has like cannons and everything, and doing all the details, pretty much on that plush. About paying, the payment plans, is that there's all kinds of different payment plans that you can do, and there's depends on the pusher. Some they have to have the full payment before they start, no matter what. Or some it's 25 or 3% deposit non-refundable. That goes for your time and also for the materials that you ordered. And when it's an OC, it's paid in full first before starting and before ordering the fabric, and it's non-refundable because you can't sell that OC if they back out and you do a refund. But if it hasn't been started, the OC, and you already ordered the fabric, then you get the refund minus 30%, depending on your percentage. Or and also make sure that do not send any plushies if it's not paid in full. Make sure it's paid in full and the shipping. Because some people will try to do that. Oh, it's like, I will pay after I receive it, the other half or something like that. No. Don't accept it. Because there's a really, really good chance you won't see your money after that. Refuse the code, like if you're not comfortable. Like let's say, I have actually an example. Is that, like, let's say a customer is really picky. Like he's like, oh, I want this and like that, really high details, and you reference a whole bunch of reference pictures, and there's notes on the reference pictures. So you're, it's like, usually they're really, really picky and hard to work with. That usually now I just refuse it unless it's something I really want to do, because there was 2 years ago, I did an OC mascot. I did the head. It was highly detailed pictures with the notes and everything. And I finished the head. It was like, oh, it's perfect and everything. It's accurate and everything else. And then a couple days after, he's like, oh, this is wrong. The ears are wrong. Can you redo the head, please? And then, like at that time, there was a fire in the apartment building, and so really stressed. I was at BronyCon in the United States, so it was really hard to communicate with him. And so I decided to just refund him minus the fabric cost. I didn't need the stress. So make sure it won't stress you out too much, because I've been like that for a while and it can get you sick. And you don't want that. And also make sure that's something that you want to do, that you're comfortable with, because or else you might not like it, the result of the plush, or you may not be that successful. But sometimes, if you're not too sure of it, like if they say the body is supposed to be 12 inches tall, but it is not. So I just send the customer the picture, and I say, oh, we'll fix the body to make it as 12 inches tall instead of 10 inches tall. Some won't care about the size. They'll say, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. Or some would say, okay, sounds good. I mean, they want to change it, to the 12 inches tall. Or even just a detail. So if like you don't like the head, they might like the head. So just send the picture. But if it's really bad, then just redo it. It is better to just redo one part of the plush than the whole plush. It saves you a lot of time and fabric, actually. There's some that have changed heads and everything over the time, and it got better. Now about the design of pattern. Like I say, like original design is that, like, if you can do your own plushies too, like your own creatures or your own ideas too. But you have to get the exposure for that. It takes time to get it there, up there. So, but with fan art, it's different because people know already about the fan art. And how do I store my patterns is that I have a lot of big binders now. I have like maybe 2 big binders and a couple more binders that equal to about 3 or 4 binders. And I use the clear plastic pages, and I just put my paper in there. I use line paper or bigger sheets of paper. I have a roll also of like, I don't know, a lot of paper. It's thinner, it's kind of clear too. It helps a lot with bigger patterns. Also, I label the pages. So I write the name of the plush and also the size of what it's supposed to be. You can do additional notes if you want to. Also, to cut pieces, the tools that you will need to cut pieces is scissors. You can use it too for someone for fur and minky if you want to. There's also other tools, like for minky and faux fur, you can use an X-Acto knife or a rotary tool. There's also like you cut at the back of it, so you won't cut all the hair out. Or also you can just do a little snip in the fur with the scissors and you just rip it, like you just do this. And it will do a straight line pretty much. And also, like I said, minky is really messy. Like usually after I cut pieces, it's all over the floor and on me also. It takes me a while to clean up myself because I work a good maybe 10-12 hours pretty much every day on plush making. And even when I'm out, like, you know, just having some fun, I'm still on my phone answering messages and everything. So I'm always working, and I always find fluff in the house, no matter what. Now about embroidery. Embroidery is it's not a necessity to do. It's just an option, an extra option. It doesn't improve too much like your plush making skills. It just improves the plush quality. So you don't have to get an embroidery machine. The embroidery machine starts about $500. I have 2 now. I'm actually saving up one for a more expensive one that is over $1,000. But it will take a while because it's not much of a rush either. I have other priorities like my house and everything. So make sure to prioritize also that, you know, budget your stuff. If you want to do an embroidery machine also, make sure you have interfacing. There's different kinds of interfacing. There's the cutaway, there's a tear away, and also the water solid one. So you put the fabric and the interfacing when it's already done, the embroidery, and you put on the water and you just rub it and it comes off. It becomes sticky, the interfacing, but it does the job. And also there's programs also for that. Some are really expensive, some has monthly fees, some are free, but the ones that are free, they're buggy. So let's pretty much save it like every 5 minutes just in case. And also there's the hand stitching. I don't do the hand stitching anymore. I tried once a couple times, but I do not have time. I don't have the patience anymore either. You need like a hoop and everything, but it is somewhat relaxing and also it can be very detailed. And also you can do other types of, like you can do like patches. Like I sell embroidery patches at my tables also. Now to sew it together. So you can do the machine sewing. Some do about like 99% machine sewn, and the 1% is actually the closing stitch, like the clothing hole where you stuff it. For some of them, they just do like 50% because I find that like doing the rest by hand and limbs and everything, it like you can make it more, like make sure it is straight and everything. So also, if it's specific for a child, especially for hand stitching, sew it like 2-3 times just to make sure it is really stable. And if you're not too sure, you can just try to pull a limb, yes or not, to try to see if it stays. If it doesn't stay for the child, then you sew it more. I actually have a friend who bought a Rainbow Dash plushie. It was mostly machine sewn, and the head, the wings, the tail and mane, and the ears were hand sewn. But the thing also is that I didn't know it was for a child, and so it was a double stitch. But then something happened to that plush. There was a mess on it, and so she put it in the wash just like that, and it actually survived. Because if you don't put it in a pillowcase, it will rip out and everything. But it didn't rip out, so you got lucky at that one. And there's also the hand sewing, the closing stitch. It is called the ladder stitch. That's what I use for mostly for hand sewing. So just to add on, because like technically there's no hole in there. It's just sewn on top. It helps also to like do the closing stitch. It like hides the seam, so you tuck away the edge of the fabric, and then you just sew it on. And so you don't need to revert back your fabric to turn it around. So you just like pin your arm there, and then you sew it around, and then it's there. And also for Minky, I use a cat hair brush to hide the seams from the machine. As you can see here with the lattice stitch program, the diagram right there, it is like you just go like this. Now about stuffing. What I can say about stuffing is that there's a fabric where you can get stuffing. I mostly go to Walmart. What you can do is that Walmart, they have 2 pounds of stuffing for $20. But I try sometimes to go to the United States because Walmart, you get 10 pounds of stuffing for $20. So you get 8 more pounds for the same price pretty much. But of course, there's like the trip fee and also the exchange rate. So, and also the bags of Walmart, they're non-allergic stuffing. And when you stuff them, I fluff the stuffing also more so it expands. Because when you open the box from the Walmart United States one, it goes poof, pretty much, because it's overfilled, the box. And you must know when to stop stuffing. You don't want to overstuff. If you want a really sturdy plush to send itself for like cosplay use, like the Cario, is that I stuff it a lot, really sturdy, especially the legs. And also you can insert all kinds of stuff inside to make it more sturdy to send itself, like plastic pellets. Some use sand. Don't use rice because if something happens to the plush, like water, it will become moldy. You can use construction board, you can use plastic, PVC pipe. There's all kinds of materials you can use. And if the customer wants to really soft the plushie, then don't overstuff it. Like see, this one is still kind of squishy. Vending at cons. I've been doing this for years. I did vend also at an art festival, it was my first one. It was a big kiosk and it was a really nice experience. I was selling my traditional art, my paintings. So for conventions anyways, is that know your audience, do your research. like how many years has it been there, the attendance. Like usually I check the attendance and then of the other year, and then take a percentage of that, and that's how many plushies I'll try to make. Usually I always try to aim 50 plushies, but lately I've been really busy that sometimes they've been less. Like for Taxon I had 50. There was also BronyCon I had maybe 28, but I came back with almost a 4-digit number, especially with the exchange rate help. Also know your location. And there's bigger advantage if it's in your city where you live, because you don't have to pay for hotel, and also less traveling money for the gas. You know, there's a lot of cons already here in Ottawa. So if you're located in Ottawa, there's a lot of cons already, different kinds of cons. You know, your audience too of like, you know, what kind of con is it? Is it anime, science fiction, geek? So you have to make sure to like, to know what to make, what is popular, and everything else. You have to make sure it sells. And then there's like I don't do like really much Pikachu plushies because you can get that everywhere. So to do diversity of your stock too, I do now also bead sprites. I have custom pins and patches. Like different price range is important too. You don't want too much of expensive items because you never know what the audience wants to spend. I had the NetishCon, that was my last time I was vending, and I was surprised. I sold the plushies between $40 to $60. Usually I sell lower or a bit more, but they were all like between 40 and 60, so I had bigger spenders there somewhat. Also receive payments. Of course, anyone that accepts cash, make sure to bring cash. If it's a big con, bring a lot of cash. If it's a small con, just bring like 100 maybe. Especially in 5s, you'll need a lot of 5s, and then eventually you get a whole bunch of 20s. Some cons will have some people passing around if you need change. They'll take the 20s and they'll give you 5s. Also, there's Square. This is a little square thing. If you have an Android phone or iPhone or a tablet, which is iPhone tablet kind of like, iPad tablet, you can use that. You can accept credit cards, but you can't accept the debit Visa card pretty much. It doesn't go through, and it goes to your bank account, but it takes a small percentage of it. And also table helper. If it's a really big con, at Ottawa Comic Con for the 2 main days, I was stuck by myself. I had sometimes some friends that come by just to fix my table a bit because, you know, I had to go a long way around the tables to fix it. And also I was like making pins, I was selling and taking payment. It was really crazy. There was a huge line on my table, and one of my friends to say hi, but I couldn't wait 15 minutes to say hi and eventually give up. And I even had someone, because I tried to keep an eye on my table at the same time, you have to make sure you not too much have like, there's people that will have some grabby hands and try to take small things at the other table. If you're not by yourself, if you're by yourself, make sure you don't have too much of that because it might get stolen. Like it happened at Otaku Town, someone stole a ditto and some pins. But my dittos, I technically don't really care. Also, business cards are really important. I have business cards. So make sure you have your business name. I have a slogan, which is called Plushify Your Needs. And also, you don't have to put your real name. Some do, some don't. I do. And also, it says seamstress and artist, so you can say what you do. You can put all kinds of information. You can put an example also of like one of your plushies. Then in the back, I have here, it's all my links. Like I have Etsy, Facebook, DeviantArt, and email. So make sure you have that. That is really important. At my first con, I didn't have a business card. And so I had another artist was going through there. And also for table helper, is that it's best is that you know there's someone that you know that you trust, because there's a lot of like you know that they will be there, that they like, because there's a lot of money involved in there also too, so you have to trust them. Usually I have my boyfriend and my sister that helps me, but sometimes I have to find someone else, like for Ottawa Comic Con and everyone that kind of fell down on me. There was one time I was pretty desperate that I actually went on my page and asked for help. And usually, I always pay for their pass. I share my snacks with them and everything, and depending how much they do, I reward them with a gift certificate to commission me. And also, there's some examples of my table setups that I did. The first one was Pop Expo from last year. And then there was January winter. While I was setting it up, I had one table and a half. And then there's the geek market. And then there's the Nadishcon. I will be also at my next convention is summer January. I actually took the risk and bought 2 tables this time and not just one. Because, plushies are bulky. And so I sell other stuff, so I'll have a tower of beach sprites instead of a table. There will be a lot of stuff that will be improved. And also, like, you can put like